Hey guys, Stamina here. Welcome to my first episode of The Lab. I'm going to be breaking down Astralis and the way that they're approaching the CT side on Nuke in recent time. Today they played against IHC in the opening match of the PGL Antwerp Major, and they absolutely destroyed them, but that's really not the important part. I would have expected to Astralis to win handedly anyways. It's the way that they did destroy them, in the way that they've actually been destroying a lot of teams on their CT side Nuke. So jumping right away here into the game, we're going to look at this first gun round and actually how they're going to set this up. So this is actually going to give you guys a lot of idea of how they're actually going to be playing this more often than not. So right away here, Farley's going to throw this outside aggressive Molotov for Blame F as he flashes early. Okay, now this is just a little detail, but this is something that Farley will do a lot, and that also Glaive, Zip, and Config will all be throwing. Every single player on this team will throw it at some point or another. But the big point is they use that Molotov to really pace the T's and make sure that they can't really tell what they're doing. So in this round, you're going to see Farley heading back to upper, Config's already upper, Glaive's back silo, Blame F started mini, watching outside, but Zipnix is actually doing something a little bit more interesting. He's going to smoke ramp early and just completely give it up off the rip, and he's going to fly up to secret. While this is happening, Blame F is just going to spam smokes and really just try to slow them down. He used this molly early. Glaive shifted around mini to fight from here, and Zipnix up secret. Now at any point, Zip could get a flash and fight. Farley actually kills one on the cross outside, and while this is happening, you have Config and Hut. You still have Glaive close here. Zip had aggroed outside. Farley's playing from heaven, and Blame F is re-aggroing this. Now, early on, you're not seeing anything crazy, but what's really important to note is how right away in this first gun round, you saw Farley support outside and then go back to upper. Blame F is controlling the outside area, and Zip completely gave up ramp, which isn't really that important of a part of the map to have, but he gave this up completely by just using one smoke. That way they have one person fighting from secret. They have one person holding garage and fighting from garage. They have one person fighting out of mini. And they have Farley on the exact same angle. So if anything happens outside, which it did, this entire area is being fought by 4 people at the exact same time. However, you still have 3 people ready to stop this area of the map, right? So it's really strong because these guys are able to enforce their will outside, but also they're ready for anything that comes upper, because as we know, everybody loves to go upper right now in the current meta. As this is all happening, you're seeing Config and Glaive get very aggro and hot, and then you're going to see Farley follow this up with another aggression. I mean, they've funneled 3 people through the same area of the map, just aggressing over and over again. Lack of respect, but they have so many people in the same area of the map, and it's so hard for the T's to actually know that, so they just keep funneling in, and they can't expect a third person there. It's just so hard to expect that without actually knowing prior. So here we are on round 6, and you're going to see a completely different look that Astralis is going to give. This round, they're actually going to have Zipnix start outside, and he's going to throw that same Molotov that I was speaking about. Blame F's going to throw the flash again, keeping it consistent. This time, Zip can play around garage spamming, Blame can spam around mini, but here, Blame F's just going to opt to kind of fall back. This seems like they actually have a bit of a read into what IHC may be running this round. They might actually know exactly what this play is because of Blame F's rotation. It kind of makes me think that. But what you're going to notice is Farley actually started ramp with the op. And traditionally, the Deddy ramp player will smoke ramp. But when you send your op there, you don't usually want to smoke because you're like, if we smoke it, it's kind of like, you know, we're not getting the fights that we want. But here, Farley's actually going to smoke it and just take a really annoying angle, and then he'll open up after the smoke fades. But he's starting ramp with his op. Glaive is upper with Config again. Okay, this is pretty much the classic. It's Glaive, Config, Blame F, playing off spawn for the most part. Blame F was controlling outside early. Zip is around garage spamming. These guys are really slowing them down outside. But then, like I said, it seems like they have some sort of read that it's going to be an upper hit based on the utility used. Blame F is going to rotate towards heaven. You already have Config and Glaive upper. Just watch how this round plays out and how quickly these rotations come in. Config is going to see the upper hit coming. He's going to get his too. Okay? When that's happening, Glaive is still top hut. Blame F's already here. Zipnik's already in mini. And Farley's also heaven. These rotates come in so incredibly quick when they're playing this style as well, because they can completely stop anything outside. They can get their information, and if they're just not being pressured in their areas, they can always cheat. Like Farley as a ramp player, he doesn't have to play on the ramp. He could play from the J Hall and he could post on ramp and then be a quick rotate. Blame F in this scenario. Outside smokes, he's not really getting any vision. They're probably going to need to drop somebody lower. In the scenario that they would drop somebody lower, it'd actually probably be Glaive down the vent. But in this round, you could see early on, he could see over that door lurk smoke. So he knew that nobody could be down vent, and they were throwing a lot of utility outside. They didn't think it, and clearly, like I said, it seemed like they had some sort of read. Maybe this is a strat that IHC runs a lot. So in this round, they just had so many quick rotates. They were able to completely lock this down, and it's pretty interesting how they're kind of playing around these riflers, just being super dynamic around outside. So here in this round, we're going to see another example of these outside dynamics. You're going to see Blame F going outside like he always does. Glaive this time is actually going to come outside and support. Zip is going to throw that molly that we spoke on, right? This time, Blame's going to get all the way up underneath Twinkie here. Glaive's playing around the mini area. And Config's now the back silo guy, right? Farley starting ramp again, smoking it. They don't really have any way to predict what he's doing. Glaive playing around mini here. Once they don't expect anything to be upper, all of a sudden, look at this trio. They have this little triangle set up here where they can still double HE door if anybody tries to pop out upper. They can double HE outside as they do here, doing a ton of damage. And Blame F is here. So there was just double HEs from mini. You're not expecting another person. Glaive rips that head off just by spamming. You still have Farley posted up on ramp after that smoke. There's no way you're crossing. Config, he's just sitting in hut. And at some point, he's just going to say, fuck it. I'm going to take my liberties. I'm better than these guys. I'm going to push it for my kill. And this is the dynamic of how Astralis is actually abusing the CT side meta on Nuke. They're using this one molly and a flash to do whatever they want. They can push outside with 3. They can play passive with 1. They can start a guy's secret. They can give up ramp. They can have their opera ramp. They can have their opera outside. And it is just so hard to read as a T. The current meta really revolves around the T side, and to see a team who's able to dominate the CT side as effortlessly as it seems, it's really impressive. And again, it just goes back to how dynamic these 3 players of Blame F, Glaive, and Config really are. Even adding Zipnix into the mix, he's traditionally an anchor and, more of a support player. And he's getting mixed into the bunch and just playing off them with elite chemistry. So their playmaking ability is just extremely, extremely good, and that's why they're doing so well right now on this map. So here in this round, we're going to see another different setup from them. It's very similar to the other ones. They're going to use the same molly. They're going to use the same flash. But this time, they're going to take it a step further. Blame F's going to get extremely aggressive outside. So here, he's going to throw a flash. They actually double HE. And then he's going to have a flashed above him for him to just take this fight immediately. Now, it's not anything we haven't seen before. But again, it just plays into the style of these 3 really just supporting each other with their rifles outside. They can stay passive and spam through smokes. They can get aggressive and take individual liberties. But again, it gathers so much information. In this round, Farley opted to not smoke ramp. So he knows nobody's coming ramp, okay? You had Zip outside with Blame F and Config early. Blame F went for the most aggressive peek you can go for on this map. Saw absolutely nothing, cleared outside. So there's only one option. It has to be upper. So you have Config, who's closed door already. You have Blame F and Mini, who can re-smoke door again and be ready to fight. You have Glaive close hut, who can smoke off hut like he did prior. And you have Zipnix, who can rotate to heaven at the speed of light or reinforce ramp, whichever he chooses. In this round, they're going to actually end up losing. I think there was just some whiffs here in this scenario. They really should have been able to make this work. They do like the complexity strategy that Nart posted recently, where you have 2 guys start on Twinkie and they just drop off and flank while there's an upper execute back silo, top up mollies. This time it actually caught Glaive off guard. It probably fell a little bit onto Zipnix's fault because he was supposed to be controlling outside. Nonetheless, at this point, they already have 12 rounds on their CT side. the setup itself and the info gathering that they had in this round was still superior and elite and should have won them the round had the kills gone their way. So this way that they're playing CT Nuke is actually just so smart. It's always Glaive reinventing the meta on this map, so I'm really not surprised. But anyways, that's how Astralis is reinventing the CT meta. If you guys enjoyed this video, if you learned something, drop a like, drop a comment. Let me know what else you guys want to see. I'm going to be making a lot of content throughout the majors. I'm going to be watching every game in these 2 weeks. So yeah, I really appreciate your guys' support, and have a great day.